40 now. And the book from my childhood. Half of my life is over. And if I'm going to be honest with myself, I doubt I'm going to live to see my 60s like my parents. So this got me asking myself, how did I get where I am now? Dork in his worries who can qualify as an adult in the broadest sense of the word, is very little in what could vaguely be called personal success. And then I got my answer. The internet. The internet is to blame for where I am now. The internet has always been to blame. The internet is the cause of every problem I, and like the others, have to face for every problem in their lives. If I must be relegated to the role of another old man who yells at clouds, then I'm gonna be sure to be as loud as I can. So I don't know how young or old a lot of people who actually watch my videos are. And that's gonna relate to this next statement, but life actually used to be kinda good. Heavens, I love my parents and my siblings, and the country I call my home, where I'm sure nothing seriously bad will ever happen. Happy days full of sunshine and laughter, running around in the backyard or at the local park, or frolicking at the beach with the family dog. Oop, it's Saturday. Time to tune to Kids WB, see what adventures Ash, Omi, and the Men in Black will get into. What's that, Mom? Bro soccer matches today? Okay. Sure do hope I get to eat one of those delicious park hot dogs, made with nothing but wholesome ingredients. Happy days. Then one day you hop on the family computer, or the computer either one of your parents use, because you want to play one of those fun entertainment games you have, and somehow expose yourself to this thing called the internet, or instantly engulfed in awe of this new world you've discovered. Oh wow, with this thing called Google, you can find pictures of things I have a personal interest in, and can even interact with people who share those same interests. Neat! Eventually, at your own personal computer in your room, you can do this thing called surfing the web without inconveniencing your parents. Starts out innocent enough. Then as the years go by, you become a bit more jaded, more cynical, less respectful of your parents, and shying away from the outdoor activities you loved, in favor of staying at a screen for as long as you possibly can. You even neglect doing your homework and fall behind your studies. It's not your fault. At least that's what you tell yourself. Internet is just so addicting with so many great things on it, like webcomics that vary in quality, and videos on this new thing called YouTube. And like TV, you don't want to miss a single thing that happens on it. You eventually come across a piece of your first NSFW content. Your mind just blown away by all this stuff you know your parents won't approve of. You make sure you're super careful not to get caught, and visit sites that excite your budding hormones, give you unrealistic expectations of what sex is actually like. When you eventually do the deed yourself. Eventually watching videos and looking at pictures of real people is going to be enough for you. So you turn to porn of animated characters who were originally created with no other purpose than to entertain you. You may even get to this thing called hentai. And now you're a weirdo on the internet attracted to animated characters and making videos about which ones you would or wouldn't have sex with. And God forbid you become a furry. Or even worse. Brony. You'll do anything to see more porn. Even locking your door or exiting out quickly when someone enters the room. Because you know if you get caught looking at that stuff, not only will you be immensely embarrassed, as you should be, but also spend an hour being told how that stuff is trash and you shouldn't look at it. Or worse, you may even receive the talk. And if it isn't you being a horrible, horny little gremlin, you're probably one of those kids who becomes so determined to play that new online game that requires actual money for stuff. You steal a credit card belonging to either of your parents. One thing that's always been a double-edged sword is fandoms. A collection of people with similar interests and can use the internet to interact with other people and share what they like or dislike about a property. That's pretty awesome. You can interact with someone from oceans away, form a friendship that can last a lifetime. If you're lucky, that friendship becomes something more. But for every pro an online fandom has, there's always a con. For example, predators! So many freaking predators hanging out in fandoms centered around media aimed at kids. The Brony community, Minecraft community, Pokemon fandom, Roblox. They always hide out in fandoms dedicated to something aimed at kids because these sick freaks know that these fandoms are the perfect hunting ground for them to stalk their prey. Always thought how perfectly harmless at first, but then they manipulate children into more and more sexual activities. When, God forbid, meeting up in real life to have actual flipping sex. child they've groomed. They'll even emotionally manipulate the children by saying if they ever expose what sick freaks they are, they'll kill themselves. To which I say, do it. Threaten to ruin the life of the child, or in the case of Joshua Rita, both. What happens to these predators when they get exposed? Well, the King Nappy just vanished. Star Giant Productions kept saying he didn't do anything wrong. Cosmonaut pulled the old, in my country, the age of consent is this and that. And Toon Great White 2K kept running away and trying to come back under a new identity. Moving away from that, if your fandom is based around a game like Pokemon, you're gonna get people to forget the core idea is to have fun and ruin it for the kids with competitive BS. And that's if you're lucky. Felicify is probably the biggest unpolished shit stirrer in the fandom. Throwing accusations at people far more popular than he is and will ever be. That ranges from hacking in Pokemon items, being in national tournaments, and even accused Tamashi Hiroka of being a cam girl. So this dude relishes in the misfortune of other people he doesn't like. And this dude has probably the most undeserved ego ever. Considering the only reason that he's big to begin with is because he talks about Pokemon. His toxicity isn't just limited to that game, however, since he's accused literal children of hacking stuff in Animal Crossing. If there's any other fandom I can think of that takes something aimed at kids way too seriously, it'd be the Brony community. Not trying to throw shade at anyone, but no one can deny there are so many grown men and women so attached to the fourth generation of My Little Pony that some of them seem under the impression that the show was made for them, rather than its target audience of little girls. I have seen more drama and vitriol thrown at people amongst bronies than any other fandom I've been a part of. And the main drama whores have been a literal horsefly who unironically bragged about being Brony Keemstar, role-shielding degenerates, and a woman who wrote literal CP repeatedly antagonized her former friend because he didn't want to bone her. There's also the case of I Love Kim Possible a lot, who not only accused Saber Spark of sexual misconduct because he dares have the popularity she feels she deserves, has also started to dox people for daring to criticize her. Okay, sort of a correction. She isn't exactly doxing people, but she is suing someone who criticized her for copyright striking videos that were criticizing her. On the subject of My Little Pony, I was a part of the Rift Cafe Stripe group, and while I was pretty chill most of the time, there were aspects I and Liz found annoying. The prime example being that the people in charge would let just about anyone in, as long as they made pony content, especially if they were nice. Even if these chuckle fucks would later go on to cause problems, head moderators would refuse to kick them for one reason or another, until they were forced to. Someone starting arguments for the sake of it? They're connected to influential bronies, so they get to stay. A hashtag nice guy is pissing off all the women, including his girlfriend, and has a rather concerning attachment to someone who's clearly underage. No red flags there! There are also two people who could really be insufferable. They'll call them Brony A and Brony B. Brony A just really resented anyone who was more popular and successful. Even laughing when a collab with Josh Scorcher and Dr. Wolf got temporarily taken down due to copyright. He'd later go on to abandon the chat after receiving criticism he asked for. Brony B, while a successful animator, would come in and bitch about every single inconvenience in their daily life. That was something that was also really annoying about the room. Every now and then you get someone going into discussion threads or calls, all for the sake of seeking attention.
Hey everyone, stop talking and pay attention to me. What about me and my needs that have nothing to do with anything any of you are talking about in this current conversation that I just entered and am contributing absolutely nothing to? Listen to me and to how bad my life is.
I don't know what the current Rift Cafe is like, having left it literal decades ago, but Mod told me a long time ago that it was just as bad in terms of quality control and management. In regards to furries, yeah, I covered the positive qualities of the community last year, but there's also a lot that can make your skin crawl. Just avoid fur affinity if you can. Your childhood notes will thank you, unlike mine that has been dead, buried in the files since I joined the site. When it comes to social media, I'm in complete agreement that children shouldn't be on it. If you're a child watching this, first off, why the hell are you watching this? This channel ain't for kids, despite there being a cartoon character on the screen. Do you not notice my disclaimer in every other video?
You kids get off.
Turn off the computer and go spend time with your families before you lose your youthful innocence, which is more precious than gold. Want to ruin a child's innocence, aside from exposing them to porn of their favorite cartoon character, there's no better way than to give them access to social media. Here they could follow a performer they enjoy. They could also learn unsavory things about the person they're a fan of. I really loved Kelsey Grammer and Jim Cummings. Then I found out they were supporting a felon because they wanted a tax break. Also a fan of Wendy Lee and Mike Pollock. Then I found out they were being massive tools on Twitter. But it really sours me on them as people. I also really hate going on Twitter because it's become a mega echo chamber run by the world's richest man-child. And also because the fun lives I had messing around with VTubers has been replaced by politics. Morning, noon, and night. I voted for Kamala Harris so I could go back to ignoring politics. Now I can't escape this shit. Doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you're on. Both sides are just dumb apes slinging shit at each other. Left wing, right wing, please. Nuke each other and leave what remains of the rest of the country for those of us with some actual rationality and rebuild America and leave all this tribalism behind. What makes it worse is you get all these grifting YouTubers getting shit they probably don't even believe in. Views on their old content started dying. So it's time to parrot propaganda. I know how to get big on social media. Here's the process. Step 1, say something that people already think. Step 2, stand by for validation. Step 3, enjoy your confirmation bias. Step 4, repeat steps 1 through 2. That's all any social media platform is. In conclusion, being old sucks. Thanks for coming to my incoherent crash out.